So today I want to kind of talk about what is keeping people poor, what's keeping people living paycheck to paycheck, and um, what I avoided doing in order to build up my $5 million net worth to buy real estate to pay off my student loans. And it's over consuming and buying too much stuff, for simple, right? Buying too many things. And in this day and age, it's so easy to buy things, right? You can go on Amazon without much effort, place an order, it comes there in 2 days. I'm guilty of it as well, right? You can online shop, you can buy your clothes online, you can get Uber Eats. And I think what's hurting a lot of people from what I've seen, because I work with a lot of pharmacists and we all make good money, right? We average around 150K, but the trap that the pharmacists get into is like a lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck too because they're just spending too much money. So what's an example? Like if no matter how much money you make, if you spend more than you make, you'll be living a paycheck to paycheck or in credit card debt, right? If you spend whatever you make, then you'll have $0 in net worth and never have an emergency fund. You won't be able to pay off your student loans faster. You won't be able to save for a house. Um, and the key thing is just living below your means, right? So, and I'll give an extreme example. I know a lot of people who make half of what a pharmacist makes. They make $70,000, right? And they spend 3 times as much as me, right? So I make 3 times them. For context, like 200,000 plus. They make 1/3 of me, and they spend 3 times what I spend. And I'm just like, how did they do this? Like, they must be in credit card debt or living paycheck to paycheck, right? Like, I literally don't get how fancy and bougie people become when they make $70,000, which is a lot of money in some states, but in California, that's okay, right? That's a little bit on the lower end, but it's just like, man, like people are eating out every day. They're going out for drinks. They're staying at nice hotels. They're going to all like the events and the festivals and going to weddings and spending all the money, doing Uber Eats, like every single luxury that even I don't do yet, right? Like I still eat like pretty conservatively. I don't stay at like the nice hotel. I stay at a mid-tier hotel that's in a good location. I find ways to save money. You know, if I can drive, I still try to find ways to get free parking versus some people who make 70, they like Uber everywhere, right? Or they have such a fancy lifestyle. And I'm just like, because once you lifestyle inflate, it's hard to lifestyle deflate, right? So for me, I am slowly increasing my lifestyle, right? Like buying my Tesla Model Y was my first step in lifestyle inflation. But I just don't understand, like, how people are like, oh, like, how are you living in a studio of just 2 people, and then this person has a huge 1-bedroom house all for themselves? And I'm like, what do you need 700 square foot for yourself? I live in a 700 square foot apartment by myself, and I had way too much space. Like, why do you need that much space? Like, why are you so fancy? Like, I don't get why people live so fancy and then, they buy all the nicest clothes, they have all the nicest things, they always buy VIP tickets to all the events when I'm always in the back getting the cheap set tickets, right? So for me, like, I don't mind parking far just to walk. Like, I don't valet park, and I know people who make $70,000 and they valet park, and I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know how these people have such an inflated lifestyle, when in my mind they haven't done enough to like deserve that lifestyle yet. I get it. Like if you worked your butt off for years, you built up a net worth, you have passive income, by all means, like you could live the luxuries, right? Like you earned it, you worked for it, right? Like eventually for me, I'm gonna, when I have a house again, I'm probably gonna hire a maid to clean my house because I worked for it, right? I earned this. If I don't want to do my laundry, maybe I'll just have a lunch service pick up my stuff, right? Like if I want Uber Eats and I don't want to drive, I'll do it. But like you have to work your way there, right? But there's a lot of people who, in my opinion, haven't deserved that yet, and they're living such a fancy lifestyle, and I'm like, you're not impressing anybody. You're never gonna be able to retire yourself, and you're gonna be living paycheck to paycheck, and you're probably in credit card debt, right? Like I said, there's so many people. Like I literally don't get it. Like I know there's people who, like they make $70,000, so they're probably taking home $4,000. I know they spend way more than $4,000, right? Like I don't even know how they do it, right? Just their rent is, in LA, like $2,500, and they have $1,500 to spare, and I spend $1,500 a month, right? And I live very humbly, and they live very fancy, so I know for sure they're spending like double, triple that, right? Unless they're getting funded from their parents or somebody, right? Like I literally don't know how they're doing it. So the key message is you want to live below your means and have a margin, right? And then really resist lifestyle inflating. I fought it for like 10 years, right? I've my whole career, I made six figures, right? Starting off, I made 120. My new job, I'll be making close to 260, right? And this is like good money, right? And my lifestyle hasn't inflated that much. Like literally, I still eat at the same places. And don't get me wrong, if I want to go to a nice Michelin star restaurant, I'll go there and I'll spend for the experience if it's good, if for me and my girlfriend. But I don't go there every weekend, right? Like I prepare my lunch most of the time. Like it's cheaper to prepare your lunch. I don't go out for coffee. I'll make my own coffee if I drink coffee. I'll cancel a Netflix subscription if I'm not using it, even though it's like $20. Like if I'm not using it, there's nothing good watching, I'll cancel it. And then if there's something good, then I'll upload it again. Like I'll fly economy, right? Like some people, they fly business class. I'm like, it's triple the cost. I'm like, you're just on a plane anyways. I usually, take a Benadryl, take a sleeping pill, and go to sleep most of the time when I'm on the train. So, it's just very surprising to me how people have such high standards. I get it. Maybe if you grew up in a more affluent family and you come from money, like I didn't, I grew up middle class, I'd say upper middle class, but despite that, I'm still very humble. Because I know that I'd rather use this money not for a luxury or a convenience, but to invest in myself, to invest in assets, to buy index funds, to buy real estate, so that when I'm older, I don't have to work anymore. Like that's more valuable to me, right? Versus standing front row at a concert or flying business class to go on an international trip. Like don't get me wrong, I will eventually if I can afford it, and I have way more money than I know what to do with. By all means, I'll do that. But for right now, I'd rather spend $1,000 on the ticket instead of $3,000. Take that $2,000 and invest it in real estate or index fund, right? So, like I said, I don't get how, people are that fancy, that bougie when they don't make the money yet. And then, I said you can still do it, but like you said, that's gonna keep you poor longer, right? This is why people have a hard time paying off their student loans. This is why people have a hard time buying a house. This is why people are in credit card debt, right? You spend more than you make. So, just kind of want to share my thoughts recently, because I know a lot of people who make 1/3 of what I make and they spend 3 times what I make, and to me that's just crazy. And for people who are like truly wealthy, they know, right? Like usually the people who are truly wealthy, they're low key, they're humble, they're more frugal. It's like stealth wealth. Whereas the people who look rich on the outside, they are actually the poorest ones, right? And probably in credit card debt just to look fancy and look rich. So a lot of people don't know like how much money I make unless you watch my YouTube, or how much assets I own, how much real estate I own. They just think that I'm a guy who works a normal job and I rent an apartment, but in reality I'm like worth $5 million. I make more than most people as a W-2, and I have enough passive income to replace my W-2 currently. So hopefully the point of this video isn't to like brag or anything. The point of this video is to help inspire you to spend less than you make, right? And it's okay to not be fancy. You don't have to impress anyone. No one cares anyways, right? Like no one cares I drive a Tesla Model Y. Even before that, I was driving a Camry. Like half the pharmacists had a nicer car than me for the longest time. Like I was driving a 2008 Camry to work, and I'm the assistant director of pharmacy, and my pharmacists who report to me have nicer cars than me. It's okay, whatever, who cares, right? They might just be like, oh, like, why is this car so humble? They feel bad about it, right? So, it's okay to be frugal. It's okay to, if you get judged by your friends and your family for living humbly, then you should. And that's okay. Just know why you're doing it, and just know that whatever, who cares about their opinion, right? Like who cares about what their opinion is? You have a goal, you have an objective that's different than theirs, then so be it, right? Just don't take it personally and move on. And maybe they're not a good friend anyways, right? So hopefully this kind of gave you some insight. Please share this video of somebody who maybe is living humbly and frugally and is getting a bunch of shit for it, but just know that's okay. So please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and I hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.